Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I am making another video today. However, this is going to be a little different. I am going to share with you my meal plan and grocery shopping and also the meals. I'm doing reverse meal planning and I'm going to see how much I'm going to save and how much I'm going to spend on groceries this week by doing that, following that method. So it's basically you plan your meals around things you have either in your pantry or fridge or freezer. So I have to basically just grab a couple of things for each meal, one or two things, or maybe not at all, nothing at all for each meal, and that way you will basically be saving money instead of just planning your meals and buying everything that you need from the store. For example, for today's meal, I'm just making some spaghetti with ground beef, and I have basically everything for that meal. I don't have to buy anything for today's meal. I'm at Aldi. I haven't been here for a very long time. I've been shopping at Walmart mostly. I also have a lot of meat on hand. I have a lot of things I have to use up in my fridge. So I basically planned my meals around everything that I have. So let's get started. The first thing I grabbed is a bag of avocados for multiple meals that I'm gonna make. I also grabbed a bag of Caesar salad kit. I also got a few tomatoes, and then I grabbed a bag of grapes. It was a great price, so it would be great for snacking. I also got a bag of hamburger buns. They were on sale. We were all out of Greek yogurt, so I grabbed 5 containers of yogurt. We need some snacks, so I grabbed a bag of potato chips. I really like their organic salsa, so I got one of those. I need bacon bits for one of the meals, so I grabbed 2 bags. I also got 2 bags of trail mix for my husband's snacks. My son drinks a lot of milk, so I get milk every week, so I grabbed 4 cartons. I grabbed some large flour tortillas and some corn tortillas too. I'm all out of Rotel and canned beans, so I grabbed a couple of each, some black beans, some chili beans. I like to keep these on hand, and Aldi has them for a great price, so I had to grab them while I was there. I also grabbed a box of cereals just for breakfast or for snacking. So here's my card, and this is everything that I got, and my total was $84.66. So great. For the first meal, I'm making spaghetti with ground beef. So I'm using ground beef, pasta sauce, spaghetti, a large onion, and garlic. I'm also using this leftover pasta sauce. So I started off by heating up my oil and adding the onions and ground beef. So basically, I'm just browning my ground beef, and once my beef has cooked, I'm gonna season it with some salt, pepper, 7 spices, and Aleppo pepper. I'm also adding some minced garlic from the jar. And now I'm gonna add the pasta sauce. I'm using ragu, and this was actually the first time using ragu, and I didn't really like it that much. It was on the sweeter side for my taste. I'm also I'm adding water because I'm gonna cook the spaghetti directly in the sauce. So I'm adding water and also adding the leftover pizza sauce that I had. So now I'm adding the spaghetti, and you wanna add enough water to cover the spaghetti with liquid. So I am adding about 4 cups of water, and you're gonna simmer this with the lid on low for 15 minutes. You have to stir it every couple of minutes just to make sure that all the spaghetti is cooked evenly. And it does need exactly 15 minutes to be cooked. I have timed it uh, many times, and every time it takes 15 minutes to cook with the lid on. And here it is, it's done and it's ready to be served. I also had some garlic bread in my freezer, so I took these out and I cooked them. I baked them in the oven according to the package instructions. And here's my plate of food, which I spent $0 to make this week because I already had everything I needed. For snacks, we were having the grapes that I got, and we had a couple of mangoes in the fridge. And of course, we had some leftovers for the next day for lunch. Okay, so today I'm making like chicken and potatoes casserole with some cheese and bacon. So for this recipe, I already had the potatoes. I'm using half of this 5-pound bag that I still have. And then I'm using 2 chicken breasts from my freezer. And I have here half used shredded cheese. I have cheddar and Colby Jack. So I only had to get the bacon bits. You can also use real bacon. Like this is real bacon too, but you can cook up your own bacon basically and cut it if you want. And I also got the salad kit that I'm gonna make to serve with. So yeah, this is what reverse meal planning is. You just use mostly what you have and you get 1 or 2 things that you need from the store to make the meal. So I washed my potatoes. If I'm gonna leave the skin on, what I do is I wash them with the brush, and then after I cut them up, I wash the potatoes one more time again. So that way I know it's clean. Okay, so I have my casserole here. I'm gonna spray it with some avocado oil. I'm gonna add the potatoes. I'm gonna add the chicken. I just want to mention these are organic chicken from Sam's Club, and they were the cleanest chicken breasts I've ever seen. I didn't have to trim the fat off. There's no fat, nothing at all. I don't know. So I'm gonna add the chicken. I'm also gonna add olive oil. So now I'm gonna season it with some salt. You have to be generous with the seasoning. Pepper. Garlic powder. Paprika. And then I bake this on 400 degrees for about 45 to 15 minutes. Yeah. Okay, so I just took it out of the oven. I'm gonna mix it a little bit. So I'm gonna start out by putting the cheese. Okay, mommy. We're gonna add the bacon. Gonna put more cheese. Oops. Oh my god. Dropped it on the floor. Okay. Some cheese. Okay. I'm gonna put it. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Good job. A little bit more bacon on top. I think it needs more cheese. I'm gonna just add a little bit more. Yeah. Cheese. Okay, I'm gonna put it under the broiler for a few minutes. Here it is, fresh out of the oven, and here's my plate of food with that salad kit that I made. We also had things like pita bread, olives, and some lebne. I don't know if you've ever seen them in a store. It's basically like spreadable kefir cheese. So I was making these and we were having them, and this is like the best breakfast ever. If you've never had some, you have to try lebne. I think you can find them in any ethnic stores. So on this day I took out some hamburger meat that I had in the freezer. I also had some french fries in the freezer that I took out, and I had some lettuce in my fridge which we weren't using. I had everything on hand. I had some American cheese slices, I had ketchup, mayo, mustard. So for this meal, I think I only got the hamburger buns and tomatoes from the store to make this up. And we made some hamburgers that day, which I forgot to film, but it looked something like this. The next day, I took out some French rolls that I had in the freezer. I also took out the rest of these spicy chicken breast fillets that I had. I think they're from Sam's Club. I only had, I think, a few in them left, probably like half of the bag left. And I also took out the rest of the French fries that I made the day before, because I didn't make all of them. And from the avocados that I got, one of them was ready to be used, so I cut those out, and then the rest of the bacon bits, some lettuce and tomato. And I made these spicy chicken club sub sandwiches. I don't really know what to call them, but they were delicious. The next day was Sunday, and for Sunday breakfast, using the large flour tortillas that I got, chorizo that I had in my freezer, some of the rest of the cheese that I had, and with the eggs that I had in my fridge, I made these delicious chorizo egg cheese burritos. And that day we were out the whole day, and we came home very late, so I was very happy to have some leftovers to make some sandwiches and burgers with everything we had. And I did serve them up with the rest of the potato chips that I got. So we basically just had some burgers and sandwiches. So the last day of this video, which was a Monday, I took out some chicken breasts that I had in the freezer. I seasoned them with a packet of taco seasoning from my pantry. I cooked them up in the oven on 425 degrees for about 30 minutes. So I'm using a couple of the avocados that I got. I'm also using the corn tortillas that I got from Aldi, and the rest of the lettuce. I had some guacamole salsa in the fridge, and then the salsa that I got from Aldi. And of course, we're making tacos. And I do want to mention that I started this video on a Tuesday, so the shopping and the first meal were on Tuesday. So I basically shared 7 meals with you, 7 days worth of meals. So the $85 that I spent at Aldi, plus everything I had at home, included 7 days worth of breakfast, lunches, dinners, and snacks. So on a typical week where I don't have to buy meat or chicken and stuff, I would probably spend around $150. So by planning my meals around what I had on hand, basically saved me around $65. So that's great for this week, and we'll see what happens next week. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you liked it, please subscribe and hit the notification button so you won't miss my next video. Bye bye for now.